Theo.
Hello, these are the three Commodore 64 which we unpacked earlier. The first one which came out of the box, which has a bent over PCB and no contacts or almost none. The second one and the yellowed one, which is a German cheap version of the Commodore 64, but which should work according to the seller. So since I only have one single power brick, I'm not gonna risk breaking it. So before I connect any of these, I will open them up and have a look inside and see if it is possible that they work or not. So yeah, we will see. We'll see what's inside. And to be honest, I was a bit impatient and I already have opened one, so I know what disaster is waiting me. But there are three of these, so the chances are good that I will have at least one working one, or maybe even two working ones in the end by scavenging parts. One thing which I noticed right away is this yellow one. It doesn't have the rubber feet anymore. And these two one, although having the rubber feet and not being too much yellowed, like this one, which is crazy yellow, they only have one screw. So probably they've both been opened multiple times and someone forget over time to put in the screws. But this one actually even has the original warranty seal. So it has probably never been opened before. Let's hope it's really that. But this one I will first put aside, as well as this one, and I will start with the bent PCB one. So what can we see on camera? From here to there, and this, and there. That's nice. Nice big working area. Let's start with the first one. Do we have a date stamp? No. It's just made in England. It's already 1.5 million on the serial number, so yes, it's a quite late model for the first run. As promised, one screw only. Can't ride apart. So the shielding is already shorting all of the PCB, so good. We looked inside before we connected any power to this, and there are already some discolorations which hint that it's been worked on this before. There is the keyboard. Let me disconnect this. Power that and the keyboard. So the real worst thing is this. Let me turn it around so it matches the most pictures on the internet. As you can see, this board has been heavily scavenged. There is not even one single chip of value anymore on it. The video chip is missing, the audio chip is missing, or is it this one? There are even some of the smaller chips missing. The CPU is missing. No, the CPU is here. There are the two CIAs, the PLA is missing. So this main board of a c64 is essentially useless. Buying all of these chips single, one by one, and putting it back inside and trying to get this to work would be almost impossible. At least it would be much more expensive than buying a whole C64 again. So I have no idea what to do with this. Maybe someone else has an idea. Maybe I can just use the case and put in a Raspberry Pi inside, which would also be cheaper than replacing all the chips in here. And have a look at this. Does it? Yeah. I have even broken this small logic gate. Why? What harm did it do to you? Probably the only thing still working is the RF modulator, which is of no use to me because I don't have a TV. Here in Austria, when you have a TV, you need to pay television taxes, which I don't want to, so I don't have a TV. I just have monitors and a video projection device to watch Netflix, Amazon, and other stuff on the internet or YouTube. But no sense in having a TV here. Just doesn't justify the 20 euros, the 3 additional channels I could watch. So that's bread bin number 1. I'll just put it aside because look at this. This is the user port, I think. Yes, the user port. And why did you go and put some... just a waste of time. By the way, this was the one that had this additional modification button on it. And I was suspecting there is something broken. Turns out that there isn't even anything of the button left behind it. Just broke off completely. And the guy left it in. Well, let's have a look at the second one. There's a serial number in the 2 millions, also made in England. Let's have a look inside this one. By the way, I highly doubt these are the original screws. And that's a better. At least it looks fully accounted for. All the chips are in. Just some extreme dust. This one is definitely worth a rescue. At least an attempt. This looks like there is no shielding below it. The cardboard shielding is missing on this one. I don't know if it's intentional or accidental. But this one might be worth to try to power it on. Here's the third one. And thing is, since it still has a warranty seal, I don't want to unscrew it right away. This one, I probably will just try to turn it on. Do we see any shielding when we look through here? Oh yeah, there is some black cardboard, not the actual shielding. So, new camera position. As I said before, I don't own a TV, and up until now I didn't have anything with a video input. So I have this video to VGA converter. Just today I read that the C64 is actually not generating a proper up-to-spec video signal. Not even if it works, so I'm not sure if this will turn out to be useful at all. Guess you have to try. This will not work. This kind of sucks. This old, very old home computer from 35 years ago, I think the original design was. So this is so old, doesn't adhere to any standards. And one of those standards is this. So there is a jack inside, which looks similar, but actually it's RF output. So I'll just need to cut my wire open and hope for the best. So I split the wire and just slammed it inside where I think is the right connection. Moment of truth. Oh, it fell out because I moved it around. No? Oh, there is something. Hey! We have a picture. Oh, it doesn't fit the camera. Oh, sorry. Now it does. So, text looks good, and there's a cursor. I don't have a testing cartridge, so I cannot test it completely. I think the flickering is just because, yeah, the wire fell just out. So I need to buy a proper connector so I can connect the video signal. But it looks like this one is really working. So let's try the next one. For now, I can leave the warranty seal intact, but I'm pretty sure I will go ahead and de-yellow this, or retro-bright it, as it being popularly called. Then I will need to remove the warranty seal. But hey, don't tell Commodore, so I keep my guarantee. Oh, let's try the same thing with this one, which doesn't come with an OK mark. Okay. So I get a black image because when I don't connect the cable it's blue, so obviously this video converter is getting some kind of signal. But although it's turned on, the power LED isn't lighting up. So this version, the second one coming out of the box, although all parts are in place, it might need a little bit of working on. And that's exactly the reason why I bought this package, with a working and a non-working C64. So I have something to repair and can show it on the camera, because I like fixing stuff. Cat has decided to take my place, so I will need to Sit on this one. Have fun, cat. Okay, don't have that much fun. Scaring me. First things, easiest thing, put a multimeter to continuity mode and check the fuse. There's a fuse. When something's broken, it should blow. Obviously it didn't, although something's broken. So that's that. And then you can check some voltages. So this shield, which I've never seen on any online video in this form, because normally there's a tab to cool the VIC chip. This one doesn't have. The other shields I've seen, this can be removed by hand, just like the cap on the tuner, no, the modulator. This one is weird and doesn't allow for servicing. So, no idea if it's worked on below, but it doesn't look touched, so just leave it there. And here we have 5-volt regulator and the 12-volt regulator, easiest to check if the output voltage is correct. Turn it on. Five-volt output is there. 4.92 volts, that's okay. Input voltage is 11.6 volt, also okay. Maybe my multimeter is just a little bit off. Oh, here we have a 12-volt regulator. It reads 20 volts on the inside. Oh, extremely high, but hey. And we have 11.5 volts on the output side. Doesn't get hot. Just feel with the fingers if anything feels hotter than usual. So you can have a check. So which one of you is the SID chip? That's the SID chip. And the SID chip, from the top of my head, I know it also has a 12-volt supply. I just don't know which pin. So maybe we can find it out on... So here are the pinouts for the SID chip, and it looks like it's the correct way around because the mark is on that side. And on top right we have VDD and the fourth pin is VCC. One of them should be 5 and the other one should be 12 volt. And GND is on the opposite edge. So let's just check. Oh yes, I turned it off. So there is a 12 volt and there is a 5 volts missing. It's 0.4 volts, but power regulator is obviously putting out 5 volts, just never reaching this point. I will unscrew this so I can look on bottom. Maybe I'll learn more that way. So, am I still recording? Yes, I'm still recording. So one thing I've seen online was that the power switch had actually harmed the PCB and the 5-volt rail wasn't working anymore from the power supply, which is over here. So, whoops, don't short circuit. I will try that and see what happens. This must be ground. There is 4.3 volts, that's quite low. I just remembered power supply actually has AC, not DC voltages. Could have thought on that earlier. Right, it outputs 9 volt AC and 5 volt DC, which is an extremely weird combination, but who am I to judge? Maybe easier it's to measure the input of the bridge rectifier, because that's actually labeled. Oh, there's a 9 volt input. Hmm. And volt input. DC. Volt output in DC. That works. That's interesting. Now the power LED comes on. Can you see this? There it is. So maybe I should try the video. Comes even on repeatedly. Okay, it is still a black screen, so, but we have a power LED, and I don't know how to continue from here. So I did have a missing 5-volt power rail. I just digged around with the switch a little bit, scratched a little bit here and there, and it seems to have corrected the 5-volt power from the power supply. Now actually the SID got warm. Not the first time I tried. PLA is also warm. So seems the whole 5-volt power has just now turned out to go into the device at all. I don't get why, but there is also a 5-volt regulator on board. So it seems to have two 5-volt power rails. But nice thing is, I had this book, which was just delivered together with it. And inside this book, I have the schematics, which I shouldn't show completely, but these are scanned and well known on the internet. It says copyright 1983, just as old as I am. Maybe I can figure out if there are really two power rails for 5 volts. This is the part that's interesting to me. We have the power input, we have the switch, and we have a 5-volt output, and the 9 volts is being bridge rectified, and it's also being diode rectified, which turns to regulated 12 volt, unregulated 9 volt, and to an additional regulated 5 volt, although we already have 5 volts. And it says CAN 15. There goes a perfectly good warranty seal. And those were my laptop hard drives. Probably they are broken now, thanks. So after I couldn't find any way to get this board up and running in a fast way, my idea was I could open this one up, which is working, and then swap around chips and find a chip which is not working and maybe find a solution. But as you already see, before I remove the shielding, the power LED is on the left side of the board and the keyboard connector is on the right side. So this is already a completely different keyboard mainboard layout. How do you remove this? Yeah. That is completely different. And it's quite dirty. I need to clean this up, otherwise I just vomit. Here are now both boards side by side. The one in the yellowish cheap version of the C64 and the one from the older one. As you can see clearly, totally different chipset, different voltage SID and video chip, and even the CPU is a new standard. There is the one large Sharp chip, which is the first one, which is not MOS technology as far as I know. And also some additional glue logic. So that breaks, there is no chance to replace it anyways. But there is absolutely no possibility that I take parts from here, put it in here and test it, or vice versa, take parts from here, put it in here and test it. It's simply not gonna work because it's not the same board. Which in turn leads me to the conclusion that I will have to buy a dead test chip. Or, no, what's it called? A dead test cartridge to see if I can rescue any of this. At least the 5-volt rail is now working. The 5-volt rail is more around 4 point something, so don't know if that's too low. I don't think so. Also, I'm still not sure if my multimeter is measuring correctly. Oh, that's all I can do right now. See you next time.